We need a human connection. We are humans. We need to sit with humans, and that is very important.
Good afternoon, Your Highness, Sayyida Basma and Christoph Glaser. It is my real honor to have you here on stage this afternoon to talk about a very interesting topic, that is mental health. It is just really interesting how such an edition of the Healthcare Summit opened with a focus on mindset and mindfulness, because we had a sound healing session, meditation session today. So mental health, relationship with technology, resilience, and mind and body connection. Now, coming to you, Your Highness, we had, and you as well, Christoph Glaser, you have helped thousands of clients and patients all over the world. And you have done it with your innovative psychotherapy techniques, applying hypnotherapy, applying PET to PTSD, and maybe you can tell us something more later on about this. And you, Christoph, have done it through all over your programs about well-being, leadership, ethics, resilience, over 60 countries. So my first question goes to both of you. And I want to ask you, what has been, in your experience, the most common struggle that leadership, owners, executives, leaders have faced in their career?
Okay, first of all, thank you very much for this. I'm very happy that we're talking about mental health, because it's not talked about much, so this is good. When we talk about leadership and we talk about managers and executives, I always notice that they're always keen for their employees to have programs for mental health. But we never hear that they need these programs. Now, we all know that things start this way, from top to bottom, but we always seem to hear that we need a program for our employees. We need them to do this, that, and the other. But really, it's like when you're on the airplane and you need to put, a mask on yourself before you put on the passenger next to you. I think all leaders, all executives, they need to have programs. They need to look after their well-being, so then they'll be able to look after the well-being of the employees, and they'll understand more of what's happening. Because let's say we give our employees the best programs for mental health, and they're getting better. But the environment's not changing because the leadership doesn't see that this is something very important. And up till today, even when we go to companies, the moment we start talking, I noticed if there is managers or leadership, they'll be just like passive. They'll be just doing it just for the heck of doing it, while the employees will actually be focused. And I always say, you know what, I want to talk to you guys first, and then talk to them. They'll be like, oh, we've been doing this for years, we're okay, we've worked for years, we know how to handle it. But I ask them, but how do you handle it? And we find out they don't. So I think it has to be a collaboration. I think it needs to be from top to bottom. And when we do programs for well-being, it should be for everyone in these establishments, and it should definitely be for the managers and the executives first.
Absolutely, thank you.
I really like that image that you paint of the oxygen mask first, and I think that's so vitally important and not easy. Many say the world has never changed as fast as it does today, and probably it's true. We can make the case, back in 1920, the average lifespan of an organization was 67 years. Now we are down to 15 years. It is believed that 90% of all data that has ever been produced was produced in the last 2 years alone, and maybe the world will never ever change as slow as it does today, because we know 50% of today's organizations will not exist if they don't transform. And so it's quite natural that we are all in the run. Leaders constantly run and run and run, and then we lack the oxygen. Now, if we look, why do we run? The old paradigm of leadership was we need to scale what we know. Today it's about innovation, creativity. And for that we need to be able to combine speed with inner calm, with awareness. If we look at the greatest soccer player, and I know they all play in the region now, Ronaldo, Neymar, they are fast yet calm. And I think many leaders are quite good in being fast, but they miss out on that calm. It is shocking when we see that 40% of today's population has difficulty to sleep. And if we cannot sleep, we heard it this morning, it affects us. 70% of all leaders say, it is difficult for me to focus. Yet the highest performance comes when we are relaxed and alert. A McKinsey study has shown that in that state of flow, we are 5 times more productive and creative.
Yeah, absolutely. Very interesting insight. Thank you for that.
Today we have the VR, right? And I must say, I did try it out, and it was mind-blowing. I was like, wow, what is this? You know, you put it on, you're in another world. Then I thought about it a bit more, and I was like, how lonely are we going to be as humans? Yeah. If I live with a VR, I don't need friends, because I will add friends, imaginative friends. If I'm going through depression, I'll add people. I will not be able to function normally. It's scary, because even Facebook and all of these social media, they call it social, but it's actually anti-social, if you think about it. And all of them were done for us to socially engage, but we are actually becoming very anti-social. And this is why I say it's scary, because if I today have a VR and I'm going through depression and I just live through this, I will not be able to function and come to events like this, because I'll be like, you know, I can't deal with humans. I'm not used to it. And that is what is scary. So I'm not saying it's not a good thing. Yeah. Technology, of course, is good. But however, I do think we have to balance it. Just take it step by step. I don't know how long we're going to live. I know it's going to be even more advanced than this. But can you see today where we are? We're balancing trying to be mindful and be here. But at the same time, we're saying, wait a minute, but let's use technology and not be here.
Yes. Absolutely.
Awareness. And actually, maybe to add to that, I have just spent some time at Harvard the last couple of weeks, and Professor Waldinger, which you will know, he's conducting 4th generation, the longest human scientific research, started in 1938 in Boston. And the question is, what makes us happy? Presidents attended this piece of research, beggars attended it, and the single most important factor is social connectedness.
Yes.
It's about the friends we have. And when our best friend becomes a social media, I think we have a problem.
Christoph, on this regard, about the use of technology, can you share with us some examples, since you've been working across 60 countries, on how countries compare on usage?
Actually, I looked it up here in the Middle East. It seems 44% of the time when we are awake, we are online. And that's pretty average. Market leader is South Africa with 58% of time. Ooh. Japan is at the bottom with 21. But that accounts for about 7 to 8 hours where we are online. And I think we need to ask the question whether that's really the recipe for resilience.
What do you mean by resilience, and what does that mean for you?
You know, resiliency is our ability to stand up when we fall down, to bounce back. And the good news is it's not just a trait. We can build it like we build a muscle. The mental space is important, physical, the body, the material aspect, social, you alluded to it, Your Highness, the social connectedness, and purpose. The problem is, if we look at the statistics, 1/3 of the population in the Middle East feels depressed and suffers from anxiety at the moment. It has increased a lot through the pandemic. And we all know it. To get out of it, we need to take action. Without new actions, we will just get the same results. But if our emotional state is not well, it's difficult to take action. I think we all know this situation. If we don't feel well emotionally, sometimes we do the things which even make us feel worse.
Yes.
And that's why at TILEX we believe we need to attend the emotional state first to take action, to be resilient. And maybe, if you allow, I would like to ask you, talking about depression, what would you say, and I ask the audience, what would be a typical body position for somebody who is depressed? When we are not feeling well, when we are depressed, what is our body position? Are we upright or rather like that? What is the position of the head? Could you indicate what is the position of the head when we are feeling depressed? Down, you're saying? Yes. How are we breathing when we are not feeling well? Are we breathing long and deep or short or shallow? Short, shallow, everybody's saying. We didn't rehearse that, but that's our experience. Now, we need to work on that, and we can do that. I would like to do a 1-minute experiment. May I invite you to stand up just for a moment? I know it's after lunch, but if you could stand up, you know, And Harvard has done an interesting piece of research. If you do this following exercise for 2 minutes, you will have amazing effects. Put your hands like that, the victory pose, right? Our positions change how we feel. And now let's take a couple of long, deep breaths in and out. And breathe out. Feels good. Again, breathe in through your nose. And breathe out through your nose. Breathe in again. And breathe out. And keep breathing. I will tell you what happens when you continue to breathe. Just keep breathing. Research has shown that if you do that for 2 minutes, your testosterone level goes up by 20%, male or female, testosterone. Your serum cortisol level goes down by 30%, your stress markers. And your likelihood to take action increases by 1/3. Why is that? Our emotions correspond to the rhythm of our breath. When we do not feel well, there's a particular pattern of breath. But research has shown when we breathe in certain patterns, we can impact the emotions. And this will give us self-confidence and the strength to then take action. Would you agree? How do you feel now? Feeling good? Yeah? Feeling good? Can you clap for a moment?
Thank you so much, Christoph. Let's talk about a very interesting topic, another one, which is the relationship with mental health and technology. And now maybe we're going to open a very controversial topic because we know how much technological advancement has simplified our life and has made it easier to automate tasks, access information, stay connected with each other. But on the other side, we can also say that excessive use of technology has led to detrimental effects on our mental and physical health. So what is it, according to you, Lisa?
Actually, I'm very happy you asked that question, and I might be the devil's advocate today, because I do think we are moving too fast when it comes to technology. I do understand we are in a time where we have to be associated with it, but it's very, for me, in my profession, this is now very scary. In my profession, we teach people to be with people. We teach people to feel. We teach people to love. All of these things, to be able to sustain your mental health status. We teach them the sense of belonging. And then when we were really young, I clearly remember watching Back to the Future. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Yeah.
And when I used to watch it, I'd be like, what? The phones are going to be this big? You know, they were like this huge. And what? The cars are going to fly? This doesn't seem real. Today, and as we saw this morning, and I do understand the importance, for me it is very scary to see that everything is going to change into technology. In COVID, it did help because we would do online therapy and all of that. But believe it or not, a lot of my clients were not comfortable doing it online. In a time where we were telling people you need to move away from others, while we were telling people you have to be close to others, it was very confusing. So we do still need the sense of calmness, as you said. Let's take it slow, step by step. I clearly remember in the 90s when you put on a Windows, it would do all those voices, and you'll be like, oh my God, it's taking forever to connect. Slowly, things are becoming faster. Now, when 1 bar out of 4 bars is missing, we're panicking. So we are very infused into technology, which I do understand. We do need to go slowly with it. I do understand our kids. If we feel that we are like teaching them, they know more. They're like at the end of the hall where we're still trying to catch up. But now we are entering a zone that is scary. We need to be careful. We need to take it slow. I do not agree that technology should take over our life. We should remember clearly that we need to be with humans. Because if we're not, we are going to turn into those sci-fi movies that we used to watch and think, this is abnormal. We are living that right now.
Yes, thank you, Johannes.
Thanks so much, and I couldn't agree more. I think we need to ask the question, are we driving the technology, or are these gadgets driving us, right? Of course, it's a gift. But if we just look at some of the neuroscientific data, back in 2003, when Facebook just came to our world, the average attention span of us at the computer was 150 seconds. Now you could say that's not a long time. Roughly 3 minutes we were able to focus. Today we are down to 44 seconds. Every 4th minute we go to our mobile phone. And actually, let me ask here in the audience, how many of you would say, I go more often to my mobile phone than I actually want to? I would like to reduce a little bit. How many of you would agree on that one? Okay, and I see many hands going up. Actually, it's interesting. A study says that 40% of the global population says, I want to reduce, yet it's not in my control. I'm almost addicted.
Yes.
And there's research supporting that, Your Highness, right? We talk about dopamine and the impact of that neurotransmitter, that chemical substance which can make us so happy. I'm coming from Switzerland, and we are happy to report that the dopamine level goes up 50% if we eat chocolates. It goes up 100% when we smoke. But it also goes up almost 100% when we consume information which are relevant for us, emotionally relevant. So we get a kick, and then it drops again. We have that fear of missing out. We need it again, and we get almost addicted. And I think that then adds to that problem, what you are saying. It takes away our presence. And when we are not present, we are not able to enjoy life at its fullest. A lot of research says we are the happiest when we are present. And when I'm connected to myself, then I can truly connect to you, right? And we can then experience social connection, which is so important.
I want just to ask you, if you get, in a hypothetical world, to leave this world, maybe you go to live on Mars or whatever, you cannot leave anything on this planet except one message, one piece of wisdom that you would like to share with the audience today and with the next generation. Which one is it?
You know, we have been talking about people who are depressed. When I was in my teenage, I had a situation like that. I wanted to become a soccer professional. I had a big accident, could hardly walk for the next couple of months and years. Luckily, I can do it again. And I sat like that. I really did sit like that. And it was difficult to take action. And what I have learned, and I'm very grateful, eternally grateful for that, I have learned that within myself there is immense power. Within all of us, there is an immense power. We just need the tools to connect to that inner core. And for me, the breath has been this tool. And I think the sentence which I would leave behind is, to your question, it is the state of our mind that determines the quality of our life.
Thank you. Your Highness?
I think I would leave everyone with a message, especially today and what I've seen here. Remember that you are humans in the end. We need a human connection. We are humans. We need to sit with humans, and that is very, very important. And one of the most important things I always say is that any change that happens, it begins with you. It is you who wants to change. It's you who need to think that you need that change, and it begins with you. We have choices in our life, even if people say not always we have choices. I'm not saying the choices are good all the time, but you have a choice. But the most important sentence is, change begins with you and no one else. Thank you.
Thank you so much.